Blue Origin unveiled its Blue Moon lander this week, while SpaceX's CRS-17 Dragon arrived at the International Space Station with thousands of kilograms of supplies and experiments. So go ahead and tap that like button as we get into the news for this week's Space Bulletin for May 11th, 2019. At 6 o'clock UTC Sunday, May 5th, the company Rocket Lab flew its 6th Electron rocket since 2017, orbiting its 26th, 27th, and 28th satellites to date. Electron is a 17-meter-tall two-stage rocket that launched from New Zealand's Mahia Peninsula to carry the U.S. military's STP-27RD mission into a 500-kilometer orbit inclined 40 degrees from the equator. Rocket Lab said this flight was nicknamed "That's a Funny-Looking Cactus" because the customer, the U.S. military's space test program, is based in New Mexico, which, quote, has a lot of cacti around. 2 days after its May 4th launch, SpaceX's CRS-17 Dragon rendezvoused with the International Space Station and its 6-person Expedition 59 crew. Once the spacecraft was about 10 meters below the outpost's Destiny module, Expedition 59 flight engineer and Canadian Space Agency astronaut David Saint-Jacques used the 17.6-meter-long Canadarm2 to capture the vessel at about 11:01 UTC, May 6th. Over the next several hours, ground-based robotics teams then commanded the arm to maneuver Dragon to berth it to the Earth-facing port of the Harmony module. Dragon, which is carrying 2,500 kilograms of supplies, equipment, and experiments, is expected to remain attached to the International Space Station for about 4 weeks. During that time, the Expedition 59 crew will unload the vehicle and its contents before reloading it with equipment and experiments bound for a return to Earth. Back on the ground, one of 6 Lunar Gateway habitat concepts being designed by companies under NASA's Next Space Technologies for Exploration Partnerships, or Next Step 2 program, was moved to the Johnson Space Center for evaluation. In 3 truckloads, Sierra Nevada Corporation transported its Large Inflatable Fabric Environment, or LIFE habitat, from Louisville, Colorado to Houston, where it will be reassembled over the next several weeks. After that, NASA and Sierra Nevada Corporation are expected to perform testing on its components, which include a garden, exercise equipment, and more. While this specific prototype is not destined for space, it is designed to help NASA and its Next Step 2 partners understand what concepts would work best in a deep space environment. NASA says its Lunar Gateway, which would be stationed in essentially a highly elliptical orbit around the Moon, is a critical piece of the architecture required to return astronauts to the Moon by 2024, serving as a hub for landers, components, and crews to rendezvous for assembly and checkout. In its final configuration, it's expected to be composed of several pieces, including a power and propulsion module, a utilization module, and a habitat module, among others. However, the power and propulsion element is the only piece that has been officially requested. A selection for that could come as early as this month. Speaking of the Moon, if NASA astronauts are to successfully land on the lunar surface by 2024, possibly the most important piece will be, well, the lander. In a May 9th announcement, Blue Origin unveiled a solution. A concept it's been developing for 3 years, the Blue Moon lander is designed to essentially be capable of transporting 3.5 to 6.5 metric tons to the lunar surface. The lander's descent to the surface would be powered by a liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen consuming BE-7 engine, producing up to 40 kilonewtons of thrust. Additionally, Blue Origin said the lander would be able to transport a variety of payloads, including rovers that could be lowered to the ground using a Davit-type system. Powered by hydrogen fuel cells, the vehicle is expected to be able to produce kilowatts of power for its payloads and last through the lunar night. NASA is currently looking at several possible architectures for sending astronauts to the Moon's surface. One of those options is a 3-stage human-rated lander system in which a transfer vehicle, descent vehicle, and ascent vehicle would all be separately procured and assembled at the gateway. A stretched version of the initial Blue Moon lander could be used as the descent vehicle in this architecture. Continuing on with the Moon news, a piece of the first deep space-bound Orion spacecraft was also on the move. While it wasn't very far, the European service module that will be used for the uncrewed Exploration Mission 1 was moved across an air-breathing floor in a facility at NASA's Kennedy Space Center. According to NASA, this was done to prepare for the installation of the 4 solar panels by Airbus technicians. Exploration Mission 1 is set to lift off atop the first Space Launch System rocket, likely sometime in 2021. The Orion spacecraft, the capsule, and the European service module is expected to fly on a 3-week trajectory that includes 6 days in a retrograde orbit around the Moon. And those are your space bulletins for this week. As always, you can find these and the latest space stories at spaceflightinsider.com. If you have any space-related questions or have a suggestion for a current event that needs covered, leave a comment below and we'll see what we can do. But before you do that, be sure to like and share this video, subscribe to Spaceflight Insider, and hit that bell to be notified when more space-related videos are uploaded. I'll see you next week.